And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this fourth segment, we are going to be talking a little bit about Klay Thompson and his free agency market, given this recent move by the Kings in acquiring Malik Monk on a very, very, cost-efficient deal, which is honestly a little bit cheaper than what Malik Monk could have been making if he decided to go to another team, but I digress. So, looking at Klay Thompson and the Golden State Warriors and their situation, obviously one of the key parts of Golden State Warriors and their successes have been from Klay Thompson. Being, the second splash brother and being a player that is very good at hitting three-pointers except in an elimination game. Everyone's going to be making that choke in the offseason. But aside from that, he's a really good shooter and he's a phenomenal player. He's not the same defender that he was previously, but what does that matter when you can shoot the ball like it's nothing? And that's what Klay Thompson does, and that's the value that he brings to the team. That's the value that he brings to the Warriors, and all of their championships have been won with him. He's definitely a very, very important piece to the team. And the Warriors, they're expected to make several moves, but I don't think any move that they could make is more important than their decision on whether they should keep Klay Thompson or whether they should just let him walk. Now, the Warrior, he'll become a free agent on June 30th. However, the new rule that I talked about, I just figured it out. It's a CBA, and it allows teams to negotiate with their own free agents immediately after the NBA Finals, giving it gives the team that owns that player currently, not really owns them, but the team that has them under contract, a little bit of a head start than compared to all of the other teams in the that could be interested in getting him onto the roster. And this also would give the Warriors a head start to potentially re-sign Thompson before letting him explore the open market. Now, the free agency market for Thompson is bound to be interesting because I wouldn't be surprised if there's so many other teams that would be interested in him, like Orlando, the Sixers. Like, those teams are reportedly interested in Klay Thompson, and it's easy to see why. Despite not being the same player that he still put up an impressive season. Now, it's not it's not the same kind of season that we're used to him having, but it's still an impressive season. He averaged 17.9 points, shooting 55% from the field and 38% from 3 on 9 attempts per game. Now, to put it in perspective, which I talked about the Kings deal before, he recently agreed to a 4-year deal with $78 million, averaging 15 points and shooting 52% from the field and 35% from 3. So they offered Monk $78 million, and he was averaging way less efficiency, way less points. Well, not really way less points. He was averaging less points, was less efficient from both the field and less efficient from 3. So, and that's the value that Malik Monk brings to the team, being able to shoot the ball. Same thing with Klay Thompson. So, if that is a similar contract with less years could be a suitable deal for Klay Thompson and the Warriors, since their numbers are Klay Thompson's numbers, his points and his efficiency, they're better than Malik, but it's marginal. It's really close. It's really close. It's not like a huge, like a 5-point difference or a 10-point difference. It's not like in terms of efficiency, it's not like a 6% difference. It's not it's a 3% difference, and the difference in points, it's a 2-point difference. So it seems similar. Like the players, they seem to bring the same amount of value when you look at the averages. And the fact that Klay gets more minutes than Malik also might play into the fact that his numbers are just better than him. So it only takes one team to offer a massive deal to shift the entire landscape of NBA's free agency. And as the offseason progresses, all eyes are going to be on Golden State's Klay Thompson as he contemplates the next chapter of his career. And, this deal with Monk, it might, depending on how much more a team is willing to pay for Klay Thompson, it could change everything in the market. Because if the Warriors are willing to go into a bid war with another team, and another team opts to give him way more than $100 million for his contract, depending on the years, of course, then this could be seen as something that's like, it could either change the market of free agency, or the market could stay the same, and the team that ultimately ended up overpaying for him are going to suffer the consequences of that. Because that's the big problem with this Malik Monk deal. We have no idea, exactly how the market is going to shift now with this new deal and this new thing. And it's a little bit odd. Like, there's no real way to predict what could happen, because either one of those two possibilities is likely to happen. And it's all going to be dependent on how Klay Thompson plays at the end, but, predetermining it makes it a little bit more difficult. But I genuinely don't think the market is going to change that much if a team offers Klay Thompson way, way more. But then again, these players, and they're going to feel incredibly after a player makes a huge contract deal, a lot of them are going to use that to their advantage to see if they can get more money from an organization. Because I'll give you an example. So Klay Thompson, let's say he gets $111 million from the 76ers for however many years. I have no idea how many years it'll be. Just a hypothetical. And everyone sees that. Obviously, everybody is going to see that move. His averages and his efficiency, while they are pretty good, they aren't the same as they are, he's not worth that kind of money now, if that makes sense. And all that kind of money, 11 million or more, I don't think he should be making that kind of money. That's just my opinion on Klay Thompson, especially after this deal with Malik Monk. I honestly feel like, they should be making around the same amount of money, Malik Monk and Klay Thompson. I genuinely think that, and I feel like if you structure the contract the same way as Malik's, but maybe give him 80 or 81, 82 million as opposed to 78 million, I think that's a pretty decent contract, because you'd be paying him the same as Monk, except you'd be paying him a little bit more because of what he's done for you as a player for your franchise. And I feel like he deserves the extra dollars for what he's accomplished throughout his career. He's earned that. But if he goes overboard, then other players might use that to their advantage. Be like, oh, well, Klay Thompson signed with the Magic or signed with the 76ers for 111 million per year or something like that. So why would I be getting paid less than Klay Thompson when I've averaged this, when I've averaged that, when I've averaged that? So that's the scenario that could change the market, and a lot more players are, in this day and age in sports, are using that to their advantage. Like, loyalty is out the window. It's all about, money, money, money with this league. And with a lot of the players, that's how it works too. So they might use that to their advantage when negotiating contract deals and how much money they want to make. Because they could use Klay Thompson's huge deal and be like, okay, well, I definitely feel like I deserve more money than Klay Thompson. If you don't want me, then I'll go ahead and find a team that's willing to pay me that amount of money. So that's how it could change the free agency market, and those are the types of scenarios where it could potentially happen. Now, let's talk a little bit about the teams that are interested in him. The 76ers and the Orlando Magic. I think the Magic are a much better pick to play for than the 76ers, in my opinion, because honestly, now that I think about it, either or could work. now that I think about it, honestly, either or could work because they'll have the shooting option that they need to help Joel Embiid. They'll have a solid team, and just like again, maybe this could all backfire as Klay Thompson goes 0 for 10 again in an elimination game, matching Tobias Harris in points. But then again, it could also end up turning out really well. But I really think that he would be a better fit for the Orlando Magic because that way he'll be able to sort of talk and mentor those young guys on the Magic and, teach them what it takes to be a championship contending team. So I really would rather see him on the Orlando Magic than I would rather see him on a team like the 76ers. And speaking of the 76ers, that is going to be what the next segment is going to be all about. And it's going to be all about how the 76ers, for some reason, aren't interested in Paul George or Zach LaVine. So I'm going to talk about that in the final segment because I genuinely think this is very surprising because how are you not interested in either of those players? So I'll explain a little bit about that after this short break.